Welcome back to Sci-Fi Eric's How to Build the USS Enterprise in Blender 3D. Today we're going to use a faster and better method for making one of our warp engines. And if you find these tutorials useful, please remember to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you want to be notified about when I post new tutorials. Let's get into it. Let's open up Blender. I like to make it fit the entire screen, and let's open up our tutorial. Like this is where we left off. I'm going to try and do this quickly, as we've actually done this before. However, we've got some fabulous user tips that have been given to us by those who have been following this series of tutorials. Okay. I want to remake my warp engine, so I'm not going to remake the rings. The rings are fine. I'm not going to remake the rear end. It's that end cap is really good. I actually like that a lot. So I'm going to select all of this. Okay, good. And B, select that, and then B, select this. I'm leaving the three rings. I'm going to move this temporarily out of the way. All right, great. And then we're going to go second layer where there's nothing that's going to get in the way or interfere. All right, Shift S, cursor to center. Shift A to add. We're going to add a cylinder. If I remember correctly, I made this one 100, although I debated making it 200. 100 should do. Rotate 90. Whoops. Got to do it out here. Rotate 90. Marvelous. All right, so grab this. Move it somewhere around here and scale it down. Scale it down at least some of the way. Alright, so now I want to go from just inside the warp cap to right here where it ends, where it meets up with the ball. So I'm going to scale X. Actually, that's not bad. Okay, so grab X. And that's really close. Okay, so let's scale it down just a tiny bit. Grab X. All right, so not too shabby. I think I want to grab this and move it forward a little. All right, now we're going to throw in some extra lines in a minute, but first I'm going to tab in so that we can start editing, but I want to just grab just this side, the verts over here, and I want to scale them so that the top and bottom match. So scale, hang on, yep, okay, good, bounding box selection. Scale. So that's probably about right. I'm going to tab out, grab Z. Whoops, grab Z. Alright, so I need to tab. I'm going to scale that up just a little bit. There, that's about right. Deselect, and then run down to the other end. And I'm going to make this, now I'm not scaling it down to its smallest point, I'm going to scale it down to the smallest point of the outer hull, which is actually back here. I'll show you why in a minute, but alright. So, scale, and make it match the largest end of the outer hull. A, fine. Now, actually, if you do Control 1 and you have your setup like mine, we'll even note where this section begins and ends here that we are going to eventually cut in to our warp engine. So Control R, that gives you a row of verts that you can place anywhere you want. I'm going to place one row here just beyond where this cutout is going to occur. And then Control R, and we're going to place one down here just past where this cut is going to end. Deselect. But what's really nice about this is it means I can get in closer now to these various sections where I want to reduce the size of some of this. So Control R, move this here. That's good enough. A. Then we're going to place lines where we're going to make changes here. A. And then one right here. Control R. And right there. Okay, good. A. Alright, that's good enough. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to 1. And we're going to look up here because now this is going to be weird. I'm going to place a cut here. Another cut here. A third here. And a fourth here. So, actually, we can get in fairly close to this area. Control R. I'm going to start at the back. Right in there. A. Control R. And I know this looks weird, but we want a cut there. A. Control R. A. And Control R. Hey, okay, cool. Now some of this is obvious. I'm going to grab this forward section, B, scale this down, scale, and make it match that angulation there. Now, I'm going to tab out of this for a second and make it solid. And let's hit smooth, and then you can always add an edge split, see what you're doing, and it looks nice. It looks nice. That looks very, very sharp. If you don't want that demarcation to look so sharp, you can put in a series of cuts and kind of round it out if you wish. So I'm going to get rid of that for now. We're going to go back in and keep working. Now, some of our fabulous users, Der Romer and Redbeard, gave some steps about using faces. Last time I used verts to try and scale down some of this stuff, and it was just bad call on my part. I'm going to pick faces, and I'm going to pick all of these faces here, not all the way over to here, but so we're going to E to extrude, right mouse click, and then Der Romer and Redbeard also put in different responses, how you can scale in 2 directions, not 3. So I want to scale it down in the Z direction and in the Y direction, but not in the X from front to back at the moment, at least not now. So by that, apparently you can hit S to scale, and then Shift plus the direction you do not want to scale. So I'm going to S to scale, and then Shift X, because I don't want to scale it back to front, and now I can scale down in 2 directions, and I want to go to at least here. Wow, that works really, really well. Thank you, Dare Romer and Redbeard. Now, I'm left with this, but to really understand it, let's go solid, and I'm going to go back to verts. So now we've got this area, which this doesn't seem to be doing much of anything yet. But we've got our nice cutout without actually cutting anything out. So that's wonderful. And then I'm going to pick this outer ring of verts here on the edge, you see. So I'm going to right mouse click on any one vert, hold down Alt, click the next vert, and you get a ring of a circular ring. Goes all the way around. I'm going to go back to 1, Z, and I'm going to scale this down. And I want it to match this outer edge here. Okay, so that's great. That's all we want. This section is done, except for when we cut out these 3 divots around the front, and we're going to, of course, be placing on a lot of parts. Now we're going to do something similar down here at the other end. All right. Remember, this row of verts and the other one here are actually going to help us with a cutout in the middle. We're not going to bother with those right now. What we are going to do is we're going to switch back to faces. And we're going to select this row of faces right here. So B. Nice thin selection on those faces. I don't want to pick any of the faces on either side. I just want that row there. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. E to extrude, right mouse click. S, Shift X, scale. And so it scales down for us, but doesn't scale front to back, which I absolutely love that. That's probably my new favorite tip. That's absolutely fantastic. A, we're going to do the same thing over here with this row of faces. So B, actually we're going to do this 3 times, so this is number 2. Okay, so I do need to extrude, but only, oh dear, it may make a wall in the back that I don't want. We'll worry about that in a minute. So E, right mouse click, scale, Shift X, and bring this down. No, it's perfect. Look at that. Marvelous. Okay, great. This is going to make texturing a lot easier, by the way. A. All right. And then we're going to do this one final time here. So B, because for whatever reason, they didn't make this perfectly in line or in scale here. So we're going to, well, we don't need to extrude this time. It's just scale, Shift X, and bring it down just a little bit. There we go. A. I'm going to move back to verts. Z to make it solid. Tab out of this and put that edge split back on temporarily. And holy cats, yes, that is exactly what we want. If we've lined everything up properly, I'm going to shift left click on top layer 1. And everything lines up here. And everything lines up perfectly here. Marvelous. That's all that we are going to do for this particular tutorial. Just a faster version of the warp engine where there aren't so many mistakes. Actually, yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to do some modifications to the very front, and we're going to cut in the trough on the side. So thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to save your work. File, save. Because after all that, I'd hate for you to lose it, and we're going to use that to replace our previous warp engine. Thank you guys. Keep sticking with it. You're doing a great job.